So the first time I wore the hijab was like the third day of the trip. We went to a kibbutz first, and then we were gonna go to a mosque, and we were all having like a little bit of trouble like putting on. My Muslim friends had helped me put it on, and I get on the bus, and our counselor from San Diego is counting all the people in our group, making sure that we're all here, and she like skipped me. She thought I was one of the Muslim participants, and I'm like, Heather, like you forgot me. She's like, oh my God, Jackie, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. Like I can't even recognize you. So basically, to me, that experience was the first moment we could relate to one another, like not as a Jew, not as a Muslim, but as a person. Like I was able to experience their culture and open up, and we were just able to connect in a way that we weren't able to before. Like it was awkward at first, but after that experience, it was just so natural and just so much more fun and more able to understand one another. Of course, I went into the mosque and into the Temple Mount. There's Alaska Mosque, and then there's the Dome of the Rock. So I go in and I start shaking a little bit. I didn't know if it was because it's not acceptable among like the Jewish religion or if I'm not protected, but I was able to get an insight of the religion, and it was really an emotional experience for me. Me and my partner, her name was Rania, we started crying because she was reading the Quran and she was praying, and she just starts crying, and she started getting emotional, and she's like, I'm like, Rania, are you okay? Like, do you need anything? She's like, no, Jackie, these aren't tears of like sadness, but I get emotional because the Quran is so beautiful. We didn't have our counselors constantly saying mix. Like we mixed because we wanted to. We wanted to sit next to someone that's perceived as our enemy, but in fact is like one of our closest friends now, and we're so understood now, and it was just really emotional for me.
Yeah, I went inside the Dome of the Rock. We snuck in. The Riham taught us that you step in with your right foot, don't make eye contact with the guard, and then immediately take off your shoes. And the whole time, Anna and I were shaking. I mean, we were very scared, but we went down under to where the rock is that Muhammad is said to ascend to heaven from. And Anna and I watched Riham and Sana pray, which was really cool, and they showed us around and told us about the symbolism of everything. A lot of my close family friends in San Diego had told me, like, don't go to the Temple Mount, don't go into Dome of the Rock. Like, I know you're gonna want to, but don't, it's not safe. But then Abdallah, the Segev Shalom leader, came up and convinced us to go and to try. And if I would have never wanted to, and I never expected to do it, but the fact that I went in with Riham, and then she went to the hotel with me after, and I taught her the Shema at the wall, and we like put notes in together. That was one of the most, I guess, profound moments of my life, and I've never felt closer to anybody than I did that day. So Jittli definitely changed my life, and not just like in the cliche things like, oh, I have Arab friends now, but just going to Israel with the San Diego Jewish Academy last month, to be around kids who had no idea what it was like to be an Arab in Israel, or knew people that were Arabs and were uncomfortable around Arabs, and the fact that we saw, signs for Lakia and Majd al-Shams, and I knew where they were, and that I was talking to my friends about it, and I was hoping every time we went someplace new that I was going to see a Jittli person or a Jittli friend. And I definitely feel like Jittli changed the course that I want to study in my life and what I actually want to pursue. And I don't want to just do something that I sit in an office all day, but I want to go out and make a difference.
A couple of people asked me to wrap tefillin for them. One of them was my friend Matt from San Diego, who had never done it before and needed help, so I helped him out. And then two other Arab participants, one of them the counselor, the other one a participant, wanted to do it, and the counselor came up to me and said, even though I refused to do it last year, I really want to try it now. And that made me feel butterflies in my stomach, and I helped him wrap, and we prayed together, and it was very nice. And we went to look to this viewpoint outside of Jerusalem, and we got into an argument about East Jerusalem and the borders and a lot of logistic things that are so political, and people get so into the details, and it becomes a big mess so quickly because we're all fighting and we're all arguing and we all want, this is my land, this is my land, this is not yours, this is ours. And it was like a back and forth, and really overlooking Jerusalem in that moment, it was the realization that politics are politics, and we're bigger than that. I think that Jittli has definitely changed my life. From the moment that we landed in Israel, you come to the realization that this is not your usual trip. And by the time you're done with the trip and you come home and months go by, you come to realize that you experience something that nobody else has. And when you explain the program, people look at you with these strange eyes like, what are you doing? What are you trying and attempting to do? And it's hard to see that people don't understand, because it's something that you lived with, and it really changes your perspective, maybe not your opinion, but on what our purpose is, and what friendship really is about. Jittli is about friendship, and it's not about politics or land or Israel or Palestine or Judaism or Islam. It's about friendship, about people coming together, and it sounds super cliche, but it really is, because at the end of the day, they're your friends regardless of where they come from or where they're going. You only Jittli once, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I would do it if I could 1,000,000 times over. It's more than worth it. It's a must.
So 11 months after Jittli, I still think about it every single day. I still look at my pictures on Facebook. I still remember everything that happened, and I like to think of it as one of those things that, like, it's something that I'm never gonna get back. It's something that I'm never gonna be able to experience again. I was able to witness both sides of the situation. I know the Israel side and the Muslim side, and they're two very different situations, but at the same time, they're so alike that it's crazy. But Jittli is still a huge part of my life. I talk about it almost any chance that I get. I try and bring it up. So the camping trip that we took in the desert was probably definitely a really great memory. We were all there. We all didn't have any technology. We did, but not really. There's no reception in the campsite. But it was definitely a lot of fun. We were all sitting there, looking at the stars, talking with each other, getting to know each other better, singing songs by the campfire. This story for me is the most emotional part of all of Jittli that I ever experienced. It was the whole Dome of the Rock with the Western Wall mashed together created the most emotional experience for me. So we went in together. My partner was Sanaa, Elaz was Riham. They told us not to look into the man's eyes when we were stepping in, and to step in with our right foot first. And we did, and it was really scary. That was probably like the most scared I was on the whole entire trip. We went in and the mosque was absolutely beautiful. We got to see all the hard work that they put in when they were making it. What we had to do before going in, we had to cleanse ourselves, and it was this whole entire process that we did under this fountain. It was like the nose and the hair and the lips and the feet and the hands, and it was so cool sitting there while she was teaching me about her culture. It was like I was getting the full experience being with her. It was great. We were able to show them our side, because right before we'd witnessed their side, I took Sanaa and we said the Shema together as we were placing our hands on the Western Wall, and I showed her how to write a note, and we both put one in together as well. We were all very moved after it, and it was worth it. You will never understand the other side unless you're willing to hear it.
When I was sitting in Lakia's embroidery factory, a woman came up and she was teaching us how they actually created all of their rugs and all of the different products they made. And I was really excited. It looked so easy. I was like, oh, this sounds like really fun. I'm gonna go try it and see if I'm good at it. And I was terrible at it. And that was really hard because it was like, I'm not the best at everything. It looked like it was the easiest thing ever, and then all of a sudden I went up there and it was like, wow, this is a lot of effort. Like having to do this every single day, all day, to only make so many rugs. is, wow. I've definitely grown as a person as well, understanding boundaries, understanding how to communicate in different settings. I think I definitely made lifelong friendships, and anytime I go back to Israel, I will do my best to go and visit my Shahanega friends, Segav Shalom friends, Lakia friends. Jittli is an eye-opening experience that affects everyone in so many different ways, and it makes the world a better place.
Jittli is 20 Jews, 20 Arabs, one room, a lot of discussion, a few friendships, a few more fights, and an experience. My favorite moment on the trip was in Lakia. We'd each kind of come together in this hookah lounge. We're like finally bonding over something that isn't like one side hating Israel and the other side loving it. So like we all were just enjoying our hookahs. So another part of that like little moment and just being in Lakia in general that was really cool for me is that when you first go to these neighborhoods, it's like you really don't know like who's watching, like especially with the whole like political stigma of like being a Jew. Like I didn't know how receptive the community was going to be to like us walking around their streets, but having like 6'2" Marine loving Jamal, it was just really safe, kind of like knowing that they had your back and no one was going to mess with you here. Okay, so Jittli was my first time to Israel, and I picked the trip because I didn't want to go to Israel as a tourist and do your typical tourist, look at the Dead Sea, like very rose-colored lens that most organizations kind of portray Israel through, and I wanted a pretty realistic perspective on the situation. Jittli really tries to do their best job of arranging like two parties' opinions and not exclusively one side of the spectrum, which tends to be the pro-Israel side. And my senior trip was much more biased towards Israel. But being able to go on that trip with just a lot of the information I brought back from Jittli, and I'm not talking about like facts and numbers, but being able to sit in a room of people who are saying that the Arab population is better off dead because they're all a bunch of terrorists, and saying like, no, like I sat in a room with these people, like I slept in a room with these people, I ate dinner with these people, cried with these people, hugged these people, like they're no different than you and I. I think that Jittli is amazing because it does what college is supposed to do in 4 years. The trip does in 3 weeks, and that's change how you look at the world.
My first reaction to seeing all the Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews with big signs when we just got to the airport was get me away from here. No, I'm not kidding. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I remember a lot of my friends telling me that Jittli, like it's like you'll never experience a more awkward scenario. When I went to the mosque, which is the Arab Temple Mount in Jerusalem, I was really, with Mazal, I was really scared because my Jittli counselor would tell me that if I go to the mosque, that they can't come and, like the Israeli army can't come and protect me if anything happens. So just kind of thinking about that made me scared, just knowing that I had no protection behind me whatsoever. And Mazal just kept showing me places, and there's this picture I remember that she took me to a place where you put your hand in and you take it out and your hand just smells like lavender. And she took me under the rock where apparently Muhammad ascended to the heavens. And she just showed me how like the ritual prayers are. And I mean, I feel like it was only possible because it was Jittli. If I just would have walked in by myself, I don't think I would be able to. I don't think a lot of people nowadays who are Jews and aren't Arabic or Muslim can say that they went into the Temple Mount. One of my favorite moments on Jittli would have to be the last night after our final ceremony. They took all the Jittli participants and the Jittli counselors next to this pool area, and we see DJs and food, and you just see everyone dancing together, not caring who they are, what's their past, just dancing and having fun. I mean, it's always really hard to leave Israel. I love that place, and leaving Jittli, I was sad because I knew that I was never going to see those people again.